safe streets, vibrant neighborhoods, successful business and commerce. These are things that make a healthy community. We are a diverse community, rural, suburban, urban, a multitude of languages and ethnicities, ages and experiences. We are a collaborative community. Public-private partnerships make us a model community that others want to follow. It is what makes us unique. It is what makes us strong. The employees of Kent County reflect our diversity and seek to serve our communities.
People in this county, in this area, we wrap our arms around each other. We come together to collaborate, to solve problems. We're all working for the good of the whole. And I think that's wonderful. And you can see it. You can see it as you drive around Kent County.
Our impact starts the day a baby is born and a birth certificate is issued, to protecting children from deadly diseases through vaccination, to the public safety and justice provided by law enforcement and the courts, to offering veterans services and caring for the elderly. Every day we work to keep our communities robust.
I think if you are somebody who is interested in serving your community, in building a strong knowledge base and a good group of people to work with, then the county is one of your best employment opportunities out there. It's been completely rewarding in every way I could possibly explain for 26 years, and I feel like I grow every single day still today.
Leading these dedicated employees are 19-member Board of Commissioners and our County Administrator Controller, along with our elected officials and appointed department directors, placing emphasis on civic involvement, quality housing, vibrant neighborhoods, and strong, solid infrastructure to allow businesses to thrive. Professional, dedicated, collaborative, and innovative.
Behind the scenes, collaboration between foundations, charitable organizations, nonprofits, for-profit businesses, public sector demonstrated through the county, the city of Grand Rapids, the townships, all the cities and the villages in our area. If we don't come together, then we will not have the strength that we have today, and I only hope to build upon that.
Our aim is to make our communities the best they can be. We are involved in exciting development projects, sustainable recycling programs, and creative progressive prevention programming. We partner with elected officials, impacting policy ideas that become great achievements. We seek opportunities to reach out into the community and offer our services to help our residents make Kent County thrive.
Our relationship is solid, both from a staff standpoint at the county level as well as the Board of Commissioners. And they understand what we do and the benefits that we can do for the community, and vice versa. We couldn't do what we do without the help of Kent County.
While most of us are busy running our lives, Kent County's elected officials, administrator controller, and over 1,600 employees are serving the communities where we live our lives, so we can all have a place we are proud to call home. Kent County, its life well run.
Good morning, everyone. It's 8:31. We're late. I'm sorry. Physical Finance Resource Committee. And it's February 1. Holy cow, does time fly?
Not February. November.
You're a little ahead of yourself there.
You said February.
November.
You meant November.
Just, it was so dark this morning, I thought for sure it was winter.
Don't have time to go faster than it already is, right?
I was just seeing if you were
Paying attention.
paying attention. Okay, item 1 on our agenda is public comments. Does anyone in the room care to comment? We've got 20 minutes. Oh, no. 5 minutes? Not? Thank you very much. Next item is consent agenda. The
So move it.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. That's items A, B, and C. Does anyone care to remove those from the? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. Item 3. This looks like a really little thing, but it's not. Darrell, please. This is something we've worked on just for a long time, and it's an annual thing, but we have to approve our budget. place to move it on, so, please, sir.
This is a request to recommend to the board to approve the 2017 General Appropriation Act as the official budget for 2017. It is the responsibility of the Administrator Controller to prepare an annual operating and capital improvement program budget for the county, and the 2017 budget has been submitted to the Finance and Physical Resources Committee for review. Pursuant to state statute, a public hearing on the proposed budget will be held on November 3rd, and the appropriate notice, public notice was published. The Finance and Physical Resources Committee has reviewed the 2017 budget in detail. Estimated total appropriations for the various fund types are proposed as follows. The general fund, $166.8 million, special revenue funds, $59.1 million, and capital project funds of almost $9.3 million, for a total budget of $235.3 million. Included in the appropriations is funding for the management pay plan adjustments as recommended by the MPP Review Subcommittee and as requested by the Finance and Physical Resources Committee at its meeting on October 18th. Kent County voters authorized millages of .7893 mils for the corrections detention facility operations and debt service, 0.5 mils for senior services, and 0.05 mils for the veteran services, which has been used as a basis for preparing the 2017 budget. And in May of 2017, the Board of Commissioners will be requested to authorize a general property tax levy of 4.2803 mils on real and personal property within the county, upon, which is, by the way, the current operating millage for the county.
Okay, I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Support.
Moved and supported. Thank you. Questions? Comments?
I'll start.
Okay.
Thank you, Chair.
David?
And first, thank you, Daryl, and to Steve and Marvin and everybody for getting this to us. As was noted by the Chair, we've been working on it a long time, so it does represent a lot of hard work, pain, and consternation, because it wasn't just trying to fit all the needs in a big old sack. We had a smaller sack to fit everything in. So that being said, you did note that the funding for the management pay plan adjustment, so that's just done now. So, and then the stuff that was talked about, that now we'll start looking at the developing steps and things like that for folks that are paid under that plan.
That's correct.
All right, thank you so much for that. And then we say through the year, or at least I've learned a little bit, that our only authority over the other elected officials, be it the sheriff, prosecutor, judges, is in the budget, because we have to approve their budgets, and we do have a great relationship, or I should maybe say you do, because I mean in the sense of they don't come hang out with us too often, other than the sheriff. We see a lot. We don't see a lot of judges, but. Last meeting, we had a lot of folks coming in and talking about the friend of the court issue, and like our only leverage over the friend of the court is like this document, us as commissioners. And that doesn't mean we can't have some conversations with the courts, and I mean we don't know yet what the chair, how he's going to respond to what was presented to us last Thursday. However, it's just like, at least for today, I just want to note that if reelected, want to have the opportunity to maybe dig a little deeper between what legislative and human resources do and what we do as we look at individual departments. Not micromanaging, way in the weeds, but just getting a better sense of, again, how Friend of the Court does what it does at this table. So I guess that's a long-winded comment to say I definitely support this budget. At the same time, looking forward to further opportunities to see how we can interact more directly with those other elected officials and how they do what they do. So,
thank you. And just one comment that might be related to that is, the legislative hears from all those different groups every year.
Absolutely.
And we don't
Right.
unless we come to one of those meetings. But perhaps over the next year, we could include some of that at this meeting to,
Well, I mean,
that's just a suggestion.
yeah, I mean, and a good thing Commissioner Morgan's sitting down, because, I mean, my comment would be, maybe a little bit we can be more like Lansing. See, I told you.
I like.
There you go. That we're, at least from the process of the elected officials, the appropriations process really looks at what they're gonna do with the money. Since during my day job, I talk to our elected officials a lot about what's gonna happen with our money in Lansing, and I have a lot of suggestions on how they should spend their money, or our money, I should say. So again, for us to have separated what's being done and just the dollars seems a bit too much segregation. So again, I definitely hear what you're saying, and you'll have to write good notes for your successor.
Well, good luck.
Is that the full
Okay.
note? So anyways.
Roger, Diane?
Ladies first.
Thank you. I just wanted to touch base on a couple of items regarding the process. And the first one is we have a few items on, that the voters are going to decide here in a week that could impact what we are looking at today. What happens, is there room for changes and flexibility? What happens if we have some decisions made that impact this? How does that flow?
Okay, there are two questions that will potentially impact the budget. One is the surcharge, and as I've said a number of times and included in my budget message, I would recommend that we continue to take the money that we have there and keep it there, because I think that there are going to be some capital needs related to the communications for the Sheriff's Department that we should keep there. The larger question is the museum zoo, which affects us to the tune of $2.1 million, and that money is already appropriated to the zoo currently. And so there won't need to be an adjustment in terms of the revenues. There will be need to adjust the expenditures, but that's something that can be amended anytime during the fiscal year. And we have talked about this. I've provided information in terms of my thoughts, but the Finance Committee and the Board of Commissioners will have an opportunity to reappropriate that money.
So
Okay, go ahead.
I think what you just said, you've got the $2 million in this budget.
Yes.
To be distributed to the zoo should it fail.
Yes.
Okay. Everybody
Does
understand?
not assume a victory.
Right.
Yep.
It does not assume a victory.
Okay, good.
And then the second point I wanted to share on the process is I really think that the work sessions with the entire board for the budget process, where no decisions are made, but it's an information sharing discussion time, I think is very productive, and I'd like to see that continue into future years, because I believe we do get a lot of good discussion and input at those meetings.
And there was a number of our colleagues that came to those meetings that hopefully had a chance to learn a little bit better what we're doing. So, thank you. Roger?
Thanks, Mr. Chair. In response to Commissioner Bolkowski, I don't mind if we look to Lansing as long as we don't start acting like them. That's okay with me. But second thing I want to say is I've been involved in several budgets so far, and I've had the honor of being involved. And it just amazes me every year that our revenues seem to be pretty flat, and our costs keep going up. But Darrell and the fiscal services are able to always present us, in the last several years, a balanced budget, and that's just not an easy task. And so, as we look forward, our revenues are going up, the rate of inflation, property taxes, but just to remind everybody, our costs keep going up. So, I think this is a good budget, and hopefully, at some point in time, we'll have a little more revenue to work with, so we have a little more flexibility in our budget.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? And I'd just like to add my thanks, Daryl, to you and the finance staff. It's a juggling act to keep all the balls in the air. It's not easy. We sometimes put some constraints on what you do or we don't. But at the end of the day, we've had a lot of balanced budgets because that's how we function. And I appreciate Daryl, you, and all those that worked on it to get us where we are. So with that, if there's no other questions, comments, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. Item 4. Daryl, please.
This is a request to recommend to the board to approve the allocation of $10.735 million in senior millage funds for 2017, as recommended by the Area Agency on Aging of Western Michigan, to approve the agreement for administration of the senior millage services with the Area Agency on Aging, and to authorize the board chair or designee to execute the agreement. The Area Agency on Aging of Western Michigan holds contracts with 29 agencies to provide services with funding from the senior millage. Under the terms of the contracts, the funding level is evaluated annually based on new program proposals, current year operations, and available funding. In early October 2016, the Senior Millage Review Committee evaluated 2017 funding requests and made recommendations regarding the funding for each service. These recommendations were forwarded to the Area Agency on Aging's Executive Committee on October 24th, and they are now being recommended to the county for approval. The county proposes to enter into an agreement with the Area Agency on Aging of Western Michigan to serve as the senior millage administrative entity for development, coordination, implementation, and administration of the service delivery system for millage-funded programs for senior citizens. In addition to the annual contracts for service delivery and administration, senior millage funds will be also used to provide in-home services, prescription assistance, flu and pneumonia vaccines, and emergency needs funding to seniors through the purchase of service arrangements. Amounts to be allocated through this process have been included on the recommendation sheet, which is attached to the action request. Assistant Corporate Counsel has reviewed and approved the Senior Millage Administrative Services Agreement as to form.
So moved.
Support.
Moved and supported. Thank you. Questions? Go ahead, Dan, please.
Thank you, Chair Venable. Not so much a question, but just a comment. Yes, it's a lot of money, and on the other hand, there will be people out there that still say that it's not enough money. There's a lot of need out there, I think, in these budget proposals. That's quite obvious, but I'm sure that the money that we do spend is spent very well.
Thank you. Anyone? Diane?
Thank you, Chair. I've had the pleasure of sitting on this committee, not this year, but the prior year, and I just had a couple of quick questions. I know we have some representatives from the committee and the area agency here. If I could just pull you up to the mic for a couple of questions.
Who's going to field the questions?
I guess I'll
Be nice.
Good morning.
Good morning, I'm Ann Ellermitz.
Thanks, Ann.
Good morning. So in looking at this, it is an amazing process. For those who haven't had an opportunity to sit through it, it is detailed to the very last dime. I think it's phenomenal. It's a process that I'm really glad is in place. I think if more budget processes followed this for other entities who wanted to ever model a budgeting process, this is absolutely amazing on how this is done. I was wondering if you could just spend a few minutes. I noticed you highlighted in blue the new services, and I saw that the Community Food Club is recommended for $80,000 worth of funding. Could you just share, because I'm not familiar with that program, and I don't know if the other commissioners are, but if you could just tell me what they're going to be doing with that?
Sure, absolutely. The Community Food Club is a program. Home Repair Services has been one of our millage partners for several years, And they actually are the fiduciary for this program. So there's a lot of other folks in the community who are already involved with this community food club, but it's being, the service is in their building. So it is, it's kind of a little bit like a food pantry, but it's different. For this program, the folks coming into it, they have to all contribute a certain amount of money based on the amount of people that are in their household, and then they get a certain number of points that they can use in the food club throughout the month. And what we really liked about it, what staff liked about it, and what the Millage Review Committee liked when they went out and did a site visit, is that people had the option of making good food choices. So for example, fruit is very low points, like maybe 1 point, but if you want Twinkies or chips or something like that, then that's a very high point associated to it. So it's really teaching the folks coming into the food pantry or to the food club to make good choices. We also like that people are contributing to the cost of it. A lot of older adults can access it. It's in an area considered is it a food desert, is that what it's called, where there's not a lot of food choices in there, where people might be going maybe just to a convenience store. So they asked for a lot more than what was recommended to them, but we feel that it's something that's really going to help the older adults in our community.
Thank you. That's the only question that I had.
Okay, thank you. Harold, please.
I would just add to Commissioner Jones' compliment of the process. I had the privilege of sitting on the review board for some time as well, and it's just very, very well done, and compliments to all of you for your work.
Thank you.
David, please.
I just need to state my ongoing conflict of interest that I'm happy to have since the Senior Millage Fund's disability advocate in Kent County. So.
Okay, anyone else? Again, the year after year, this happens, and it's not an accident that it's done well. And so the commissioners that, I don't know who was on the committee this year.
Matt.
Sam, were you there?
No.
No,
I
it
think
was Matt and Carol,
Okay.
Yeah.
and Stan, I think.
Stan is back.
Okay.
Yep, and yeah, with
Well,
Carol.
Thank you. But again, this is how Kent County does things. And
Was that a slip?
we do it well. That was a Freudian slip.
Okay.
So, yeah. Congratulations to Kentwood for Kentwood County. Kent County. I had too much
I'm
coffee.
sorry, Mr. Chair, I think that's funny.
All right, any other questions?
I'll try to compose myself.
Not all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Abstain.
Yeah. Commissioner Bukowski abstained.
Grazie.
Item 5, please.
This is a request to recommend to the board to authorize a 3-year agreement between Kent County and Community Rebuilders for the delivery of tenant-based rental assistance, to authorize the board chair or designee to execute the agreement, and to approve extensions and changes within 15% of the original agreement. Earlier this year, Kent County issued a request for proposals for tenant-based rental assistance on behalf of the Wyoming Kent County Home Consortia. This tenant-based rental assistance program provides rapid housing, rehousing services for individuals and or families experiencing homelessness. Community Rebuilders responded to the RFP and proposed to serve a minimum of 46 households over a duration of 12 months with coaching from a housing resource specialist and necessary rental subsidies to secure housing. Over the 12 months, households will work to increase earnings, which reduces required rental subsidy. Community Rebuilders' proposal aligns with the regional consolidated plan that was approved by Grand Rapids, Wyoming, and Kentwood earlier this year. Community Rebuilders provides a similar service with home funding from the city of Grand Rapids. Additionally, the proposal aligns with the community's plan to end homelessness. The final contract will be reviewed and approved by corporate counsel prior to signature.
Need a motion to approve?
So moved.
Support? Support?
Support if I didn't move. got the move. Okay, good. Support.
Pam's got it written down.
Okay.
No, there, I don't want to be critical at all, but when you got to Kent County, you said Kentwood, yeah. I'm just saying. You see what happens when you lead somebody just a little bit and they just fall right in line. Okay.
Wow.
Any questions, Stan?
Thank you, Chair Vandermolen. I guess my question, everyone knows the housing market in Grand Rapids is really going strong. That's part of the free market system, which is thus driving up rent costs, and in some areas of the cities, 2- and 3-fold. With the money that's allocated, and I see that there's rent subsidies involved in this, I mean, what, if anything, can they do for a homeless person when we're facing pretty much full occupancy? It's not a renter's market, it's the person that owns the property. I mean, what's the strategy? You know, I know here's the money, this and that, but what is the strategy on rental assistance if we're only providing a third and the person can't make up the rest of it?
Commissioner Ponstein, you're right on target. This is a significant issue in our community right now, is the rental rates and what the market is demanding. As the interim director of the Housing Commission, we're seeing the same challenge with our Section 8 voucher rentals, in that we have residents who are, after their year lease is expiring, their rates are being increased to a level that are no longer affordable to our subsidy requirements by HUD, and are having to find new places to live, and it's taking a lot of time and energy. So I agree with you. Community Rebuilders has a number of relationships with landlords that they've identified over the years that they have some housing secured. They also partner with our nonprofit developers in some of those units that they have subsidized. So this is an issue that we're going to have to watch and work through. I can't guarantee anything other than we're seeing more families coming into the homeless system right now because of the exact thing you're talking about, and this is a little bit of resources that we can put to try to address that problem. The key is the HRS, who works with the family to increase earnings over the course of the year. So
it's safe to say that the lifeline of these people are once again the nonprofits in our community.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you, David.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Matthew, for your continued work on this. We got a few weeks ago or so the final report on the Coalition to End Homelessness. And when I first heard that presentation of that report, the part that I thought was the most wise within it was, first, it said you got to have a great vision, which we had, and you have to have measurable action steps with accountability, which we didn't have.
Yeah.
So my quick question is, who's working on measurable action steps and accountability as it relates to the affordable housing crisis that we have in our county?
Well, I think there's two different questions there. One is in the Coalition to End Homelessness and accountability. I've been on a subcommittee of the coalition that is actually going to be publishing its first dashboard for our community that will come out monthly now, so we can look at year-over-year recidivism, year-over-year increased earnings, things like that. So that's been worked on. The affordable housing crisis, this is your term, the significant issue that we're facing in the community is something that there's lots of emerging conversations going on with different nonprofit partners in the community as well as local leaders. So I don't think that, I don't think there's a strategy in place yet, but I think there's people working on trying to determine a solution to present as a starting point.
All right, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Thank Matt. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. Item 6, please.
This is a request to recommend to the board to create a Haven renovation project in the 2016 Capital Improvement Program Fund and to appropriate $1.1 million from the 2016 Strategic Capital Project in the CIP fund to the new project. For the past 18 years, the Circuit Court has contracted with Holy Cross Children's Services for operation of a staff-secure facility at the former Child Haven site on the juvenile detention campus. Over the years, utilization of the Haven has declined as the number of youth appropriate for the facility has decreased. In light of this and a reduced state reimbursement rate, Circuit Court terminated the program effective October 31st, 2016. The decision to close the Haven came at the same time as the court and facility staff were identifying locations for the temporary relocation of 36 non-detention programming staff housed at the detention center, whose offices will be displaced during construction. Circuit Court and facilities management staff are recommending that the former Haven facility be renovated to accommodate 28 courtside staff. The remaining 8 will be relocated to the Circuit Courthouse due to their frequent interaction with the staff and judges. The recommendation is based on the proposal's ability to maintain adjacency of courtside staff and the detention center, allow for greater flexibility for future detention expansion, eliminate the cost, operational inefficiency, and customers' disruption of having a temporary location, and providing construction and future operational savings by not having office personnel located within a secure facility. Repurposing the Haven facility for the new use is estimated to cost $1.1 million, including technology, furnishings, and a $100,000 contingency. Fiscal Services staff is recommending that the funding for the project be taken from the $5 million set aside in 2015 for strategic capital associated with implementation of the county space needs study. After reviewing the staffing structure of the detention center, Circuit Court has requested and Human Resources Department is recommending the addition of an additional youth specialist position at this detention center to allow for appropriate staffing ratios to be maintained as a result of the closure of the Haven. Funding for the staffing, which is $69,800, is available from savings from the terminated Haven contract, which for 2017 was budgeted at $900,000. A request to recommend the position will be placed before the Legislative and Human Resources Committee on November 8th.
Okay, thank you, Darrell. I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Support? Support. Question? Abstain?
Just a quick one, I'm pretty sure I know the answer. On the budget where there's 100,000 contingency, if that's not spent, that just goes back to the CIP fund?
Right.
All right,
Yes.
David?
Yeah, I got a bunch of questions. First, most of them were answered in the longer memo that we were given, because I was surprised in reading just the face sheet that all of a sudden we have to find space for these people. And so then I discovered that we were going to build space for the people in the renovation. So actually, we're not going to save the full amount. However, we're not doing that renovation. So that's cool. However, do we have a better number than not quite the same amount? And then the second question would be relative to the Circuit Court. What's it doing with the other $830,000 it's not spending on this contract? And isn't that $830,000 available to pay for at least a portion of this capital improvement for these folks? Or did that $830,000 just kind of evaporate up through its budget that we just approved? So,
Morning, Mary.
Thanks, Mary.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'll kind of give you the broad answer, and if you want more detail, we have Al Jano and Andy Thalhammer here who can get more specific. As far as we're going to be spending less but not much, we really can't quantify that yet because we have not gone out to bid. We're dealing with architectural estimates at this time, and so we can't give you that. We know it will be less. We just don't know exactly how much.
In the secured part?
Correct. We will be putting, doing
Right.
some different configuration there. And again, it allows one of the biggest boons about this, I think, is the ability to expand the detention center in future years. When we build for many years out, and this flexibility will really help in that design process.
And then what about that other $830,000 that the circuit court's not spending on the Haven contract?
The child care fund cannot be spent on bricks and mortar. That's just one of the requirements, so it can't be used for that, period. It's never been allowed to be used for bricks and mortar. It can pay operating costs, programming, pays for utilities, but we cannot use it for construction purposes.
We couldn't set up some kind of lease arrangement that we're leasing this facility from ourselves, and just as much as we're being creative of moving the bond proceeds from the courthouse, which is allowable, we can't use the bond on this because it wasn't in there. I mean, I get all of that. We can't be as creative with this $830,000, which again, my hope is that what I hear you saying is because it's child care dollars, it has to be spent on child care, so it's not going to who knows where within the circuit court. Assuming that, I'm not trying to at all hint that it's not a good thing the money's going to. However, this money was about Child Haven and working with kids who unfortunately are in juvenile detention or pretty close to juvenile detention. And now it seemed, at least according to this, it's evaporating in a different direction, but you're saying it's not.
It will stay in the circuit court budget for childcare. This is always an estimate every year what we're going to spend, and we look at this year. You'll notice that we've talked about we have some unusual expenses to kids that are needing more extensive programming than others. This will give the circuit court a little bit of flexibility for that. But no, as we've been reporting for the past 6-9 months, the state is very thorough in looking at all of this. We're very much a partner with the state. We ask, we have gotten some of the money for programming and to do some of the studies, but we cannot be creative in any way and pull this money out of its designed use. So it will stay there, it'll be there if we have any overruns, but we cannot use it for the construction.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Thank you, Mary. Now, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Item 7 is the proposed parks fee adjustment.
This is a recommendation to the board to approve changes to the park's fees for shelters and boat rentals effective November 18th, 2016. County policy requires that departments annually review their fees as part of the budget process. With construction complete on the new Grand Pavilion in the Meadows of Millennium Park, the Parks Department is recommending implementation of new fees to rent the facility. For comparison, other shelter and picnic rental fees are also shown. In addition, the department experimented with boat rentals at Wabasas Lake Park in 2016. Board approval of the proposed rental fees is requested in order to make this an ongoing offering at the park. And you see the current and proposed fees and then the date of the last changes for those fees. In 2017, the proposed new fee for rental at the Grant Pavilion is projected to raise $18,000, and boat rentals at Wabasas Lake Park are expected to generate $7,500. Both figures have been included in the department's 2017 budget request. In both cases, revenues are expected to grow in subsequent years as public awareness of these opportunities increases.
So moved.
Support. Moved and supported.
Support.
Questions? Roger?
Thanks, Mr. Chair. So we're just setting 2 new rates here, one for the new pavilion, Raj, and then we had some kayaks up at Millennium Park. But I see, some of these haven't been changed for 8 years, so we've been able to cover our costs with these kind of charges of that aren't going to be changed.
We basically look at market every year and change where we think market is going to, and leave things as is where market won't support a rate increase.
Okay, so why November 18th? Why is that?
Because we have a rolling 12-month reservation system. So we have people right now that want to make reservations at the Meadows, and we need to get it on the books and get going.
I get that makes sense. I didn't know why.
So if you want to rent the Meadows, do it today.
Oh, I'm more
And get it
inclined
for
to
the
do
cheaper
Wabas's Park because it's up by me, but the kayaks.
All right, Stan, please.
Thank you, Chair Van Mullen. Just a quick question. So when we say it generates revenue of 7,500, is that after our expenses, which would then be that evil word profit, or is that to cover the expenses?
That's gross. That's, we have people, so for the boat rental, we have people that are there anyway. So this is, that are working at the park, that are working at the store where the rentals come out of. So they're there anyways. This is additional revenue.
Okay, all right.
And of course, that Millennium, the Meadows there would be some expenses tied to that, I assume.
Absolutely. So that's more of a break even.
It's a beautiful place, by the way. If you haven't been there, go there. David?
Yeah, thank you for your continued good work for our parks. The question, when I read the title of this item, I thought we were going to get the whole fee schedule. Did we already look at that? 1 year bleeds into another for me, because that's usually when
1 year bleeds into another for me too.
Yeah. Did we already approve that, or are there any, because
The other fees that are part of any other fees we have been approved. So like we don't have the golf course here and we don't have campground here this year. They have been approved
those
in
were
the past.
approved in the summer? I can't.
Those were approved. We're not changing them, so you don't have the entire fee schedule because we're not proposing any changes. What's here today is really
New fees, not adjustments.
and comparisons to other shelter rentals,
Yep.
because that's what you're working on.
Correct. All right, thank you.
Brian, please.
I see the comparables on the shelter and the picnic areas. When it came to setting the Wabas's Lake Campground boat rentals, where did that come from on those numbers?
We worked on that this summer. We had a trial period this summer just to see where price points might be, and so this is brand new, and this is where we think the market is. With Wabas's being a much bigger lake and people exploring, they take the watercraft out for a much longer period of time. So that's why we have longer rental periods at Wabas's, whereas at Millennium we have 1 hour rental periods.
Well, I don't mind the longer time. I'm just looking at that dollar amount and thinking if you have people who are already there for, renting for the day, and they're paying for that, right? There's rental properties.
They pay for the campground.
Right. So I'm just trying to figure out is there another tier where you can go, if you're paying for the campground, then you should get a reduced rate on these items instead of versus someone who just comes in?
Our gut reaction is that about 40% of the rentals at Wabas's are non-campground people, and 60% are campground users. So it might help a little bit, but we could explore that certainly.
Just something to think about for the next go-around, because I think that would be well-received. And I think that's a nice benefit to add for someone who's already coming to use the property to go, thank you so much for being here, and we have these here. So versus the people who come for the day, you can have a discounted rate on the extra things. Okay.
Okay, any other question? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, Roger. Item 8.
This is a request to recommend to the board to accept and appropriate grants and other support from various sources totaling $1.8 million to the Fred Meyer M6 Trail Project budget in the Capital Improvement Program Fund. Over the past several years, the Fred Meyer M6 Trail has been developed in phases between Kent Trails to the west and the Paul Henry Thornapple Trail to the east. One final major phase of construction remains between the trail bridge across Division Avenue and the intersection of 68th and Clay Avenue. The cost to construct this connector route, which includes 2 new bridges to provide safe passage across creek and an active railroad, is projected at $1.8 million. The Michigan Department of Transportation has allocated $1.3 million toward this project. The required local funds are being provided by various partners, including the Meyer Foundation, $375,000, Byron Township, $62,500, and Gaines Township, $62,500. In order to begin work, this funding needs to be accepted and appropriated to the county's capital improvement program. As with past development phases, the Kent County Road Commission will manage the construction of this section of the trail and administer the state funding.
So moved.
Support.
Moved and supported.
Great idea.
Questions?
Now, is that near Kentwood?
Yeah. Where is Kentwood?
Where is
Really? North. Okay.
I just have a comment, Mr.
Please.
Chair. I believe where this bridge is going across is definitely a necessity, because I want to say it was like 2 weeks ago, you had somebody that was hit by a car and perished right in that area, right there at 60th across Division, from about 60th to 68th Street. You hear people getting hit all the time. So that was my comment.
Okay.
Good point.
So, Roger, if I look at this, the bridge is already at Division.
There is a bridge at Division right now for trail
Goes
use.
nowhere. A bridge to nowhere right now, except across the road, but yeah.
And a bridge to an anticipated somewhere.
Yeah.
It's always been the goal. So the bridge over Division does exist. It's on the south side of M6. And then I think the pedestrian you're talking about was closer to 60th. This is about midpoint between 60th and 68th. And then the two other bridges that go, if you're familiar with the bridge over Division, it's a pretty big bridge, and there's another one just like it that's going over active railroad tracks, and then there's another bridge that goes over Buck Creek. So that's why a relatively short distance costs so much.
But it does tie the two together, so that.
It ties everything together, and we'll finish M6.
Diane, please.
Thank you, Chair. Is this then going along the road right away, or did you need easements?
This is within the M6 corridor, and then when it heads south at 131, it picks up Clay, the right-of-way of Clay Avenue,
Okay.
down to 68th Street.
So is this going to be along the shoulder then for that part of
Along
it?
Clay,
Yeah,
it will widen the existing sidewalk,
okay.
and then we'll be able to pick up, there were problems trying to get around 131 on the right-of-way there, and but going on Clay also provides the trail to people who are employed on Clay, plus the hotels.
Okay.
Good. Anything else? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Thank you, Roger.
Yeah.
Can't wait to get it done.
Yeah.
Okay, miscellaneous.
Anyhow.
Again, thanks to Darryl and the staff for the budget work that was completed today. We'll have another shot at it on Thursday, I assume.
Thursday will be the public hearing, and then 2 weeks from Thursday will be the vote.
Okay. Good. If there's nothing else, all in favor, say, nope, they're adjourned.
I am Kent County. I am Kent County.
I am Kent County.
We are 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 Kent County.
Beya, Kent County. Ami, Kent County.
Somos Kent County.
Mas Ira, Kent County.
We are Kent County.
We are Kent County.
We are Kent County. Oh yeah.